Hey everyone. Okay, so yeah, this chapter pretty much marks the beginning of the end to the whole Todoroki saga, as Toya's flame is seemingly starting to burn out, or just that it's reaching that critical point at the very least. And if I'm reading the room correctly, in regards to that final page, I think that's Horikoshi conveying that at this point he's only just barely alive, or at best he's holding on by a few final breaths. So, but this is whatever happens from here beyond this point. This is likely going to be Toya's last moments, and I do like how it's kind of come. I do like how this whole like chapter is presented, that how it's come full circle for the Todoroki family, in the idea that it all started with Toya thinking he was alone and abandoned, and now years later, this finally ends with his family right there for him, just wanting him to stop and come home. And honestly, upon first reading the chapter, I thought this felt a little lacking because Shoto wasn't there, but reading through this chapter a few more times, I think there is merit to leaving Shoto out of this, just because even though Shoto does care for his brother, ultimately he was just a baby when Toya disappeared, and then reappeared years later as Dabi. So leaving this as an affair for Endeavor, Rei, Natsu, and Fuyumi, I think it does it weirdly does make it feel more powerful, because they are the ones who understand it the most. They are in more ways probably the most repentant for causing this whole situation to begin with, because they were just never there for him when Toya needed them most, which in its own weird twisted way does make this a very heartfelt family moment, because Todoroki's just coming together, wanting to save their son, and in Fuyumi and Natsu's case, their brother. The only question left hanging is whether he's gonna live or die through this. And again, I'm kind of hoping it's the latter, just because it's gonna be real hard for me to believe he's gonna live through this, just from how his whole body has been burned up. Which also, yeah, the chapter has me feeling hopeful that Endeavor might live through this, but also a shred of me that is scared that whatever he's about to do might be taking Toya with him. Like, I feel like I want Endeavor to live through this, but it might not. I don't know if that's how Horikoshi's gonna play this. It feels like he might end up killing both Toya and both pretty much Toya and Endeavor, but I could be wrong on that. Now, with that being said, I gotta say the pacing of this chapter was definitely probably the weakest aspect to it, and because the thing about the pacing is that it was definitely weird in spots, in the sense where it feels like there were gap filler moments missing to make the transition from one panel or one scene to the next more fluid. Like, for example, I had to read the last couple pages several times just so I could make out the charred body Endeavor was holding was in fact Toya and not Rei. Because, yeah, no joke, there was a moment reading this chapter where I had thought the one Endeavor was holding was holding in those final pages was from Rei, that it was Rei's charred up body. But which, granted, you could say that kind of still technically did happen, as everyone basically got engulfed by Toya's flames, I suppose. But do I believe But after reading it several times, do I believe everyone in the Todoroki family is going to die? No. It's just that it's one of those scenes in this chapter that's so weirdly paced. It made me think for a moment. Wait, is that Rei or is that Toya, kind of thing? But again, as I said, I eventually did figure it out. It just took a couple moments, and like, again, I think this chapter would have been done. Could have used for a couple more pages, just for the fact of filling in the gaps and making certain scenes like have a better transition from moment to moment, kind of thing. Is my only gripe about this chapter. Like, this chapter is 11 pages long, and again, it could have been like, I think 14 or 15 in my opinion. Again, just to fill those gap moments that I feel are missing to make the chapter flow a little bit better. And with that said, One other little touch I really liked in this chapter is how, despite giving himself completely to insanity, just attempting to end it all, despite being a literal husk of who he was, Toya is still able to recognize and call out to the people he once considered family. Mom, Rei, Fuyumi, and Natsu, yet not Endeavor's name. Like, it's an interesting thing. I know I'm making probably an anthill out of ants with this one, but it is kind of interesting how those names in particular register with him, and yet he just refuses to call Endeavor his father. Like, it shows that, I think, for however much hatred he may have for Endeavor and for his father, Enji Todoroki, I think he does still have a glimmer of genuine love for his mother and siblings. I think it's almost fair to say that his hatred for his mother and siblings was more born out of feeling helpless at being unable to protect them, at being unable to protect them from the abuse. So all he could do was resort to thinking of them as weak, and that they're even worse than Endeavor, like for that. For that, and just it was his way of, I guess, masking the pain. But they are like the only three I think he still does have a genuine connection and feelings of love for, with even now. Yes, but as far as Endeavor though, that's definitely the more complicated relationship. And honestly, even though it would make sense for Toya to die after all is said and done, part of me does want him to survive, however nonsensical it will be to me, just so we could maybe see him and Endeavor take the steps towards at least attempting to repair their shattered relationship. Like, even after this is all said and done, the Todoroki family still has so many goddamn issues that they need to sort out themselves, and it is for that reason that, for as much as I think that Horikoshi might be taking the logical path of killing Toya by the end of this, I wouldn't be surprised if he did allow Toya to live, just for the fact of wanting of seeing them try to repair that relationship in the epilogue of the series and whatnot. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much all I got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter and with Crunchyroll. Be sure to notification bell, hit the subscribe button, and just share the video around, guys. Dark Knight of Anime signing off. Later, everyone.